I found out my wife was 2 months pregnant with my brother's baby, and my own mother was the one helping them schedule their hotel hookups. 6 months later, the three of them were sitting in a cheap diner, begging me to save them from the exact hell they created. My brother Ed was the golden child who could do no wrong. I even handed him a high-paying sales job at my tech company just to help him out. My wife, Megan, and I had a solid marriage until I got put on a massive 6-month software project. Suddenly, everything shifted. Megan started working weird shifts. She was withdrawing hundreds in cash every week. My mom suddenly became Megan's best friend, whispering on the phone whenever I walked into the room. I accidentally logged into her email on our shared computer. At the top of her inbox was a thread with my mother titled, "Don't Let Josh Find Out." I clicked it and found a 3-month paper trail of pure betrayal. Mom was coordinating Dad's golf schedule, so Ed and Megan could use my parents' house to sleep together. The newest email was the sickest. Megan was panicked because she was pregnant and didn't know if the baby was mine or Ed's. My mother replied, "Just tell Josh it's his. He'll be a better father anyway." I didn't scream. I just took screenshots, called a divorce attorney, and drained our joint accounts. I played the loving husband for 4 agonizing days. I invited my parents and Ed over for a special family dinner to share some good news. I set the table. I placed 2 thick manila envelopes right under my chair. We all sat down. Megan wore the blue dress I bought for our anniversary. Ed was smirking, playing the perfect brother. After the main course, my dad raised his glass and asked about my big news. I reached under my seat and pulled out the first envelope. I slid it straight across the table to Megan and said, "Those are divorce papers." The room went dead silent as Megan's face drained of color. "I know about you and Ed," I said, keeping my voice dangerously flat. "I know about the baby, and I know Mom helped you hide it." My mother gasped loudly, swearing Megan would never do such a thing. I just pulled out the second envelope and handed it directly to my dad. "Those are Mom's emails," I told him. My dad opened the flap and started reading, his hands visibly shaking. Ed violently pushed his chair back, stood up, and pointed a finger at me. "You had no right to go through her emails," he yelled. He actually scoffed, rolling his eyes like I was overreacting. "Come on, it's not that big a deal," Ed sneered. Megan and I connected. "You barely pay attention to her anyway." Something inside me snapped. I stood up and walked slowly around the edge of the table. As Ed opened his mouth to speak again, I swung my fist. I connected squarely with the center of his nose, the bone giving way with a loud, sickening crack. Blood exploded down his chin as he stumbled backward into the wall. My mother screamed. My dad stood up, his face dark with absolute rage, and pointed straight at the front door. "Get out of my house," my dad commanded, looking strictly at Ed and my mother. My dad disowned Ed entirely and cut off my mother's credit cards. The paternity test proved the baby wasn't mine. I kept the house, got my promotion, and moved on. 6 months later, I got a desperate text from my mother to meet her at a diner. Mom was sitting next to Megan, who looked exhausted holding a baby carrier. Ed had stolen company money, gotten a DUI, and was facing prison time. Worse, he drained Megan's bank account and abandoned her right after the baby was born. They were broke and begging me to pay Ed's bail and support Megan. "Family helps family, Josh," my mother whispered with pleading eyes. I looked at the 2 women who tried to trick me into raising another man's child. I reached into my pocket. I pulled out my wallet. I dropped a business card for a women's shelter on the table. "This place can help you," I said. "I won't. And Ed can rot." I turned my back, walked out the door, and never looked back.